I warned sister her husband will file for divorce if she shows their kids to estranged in-laws and she. My sister Clara always thought she could fix people. Like they were broken clocks she could wind back to life. Last summer, she stood in her kitchen, eyes blazing, and told me she was taking her kids to meet mom and dad's parents, our parents, the ones who hadn't spoken to us in a decade. I laughed, sharp and bitter, and said, Clara, if you drag those kids to those vipers, Tom will have divorce papers ready before you're back. Clara and I grew up in a house where love was a transaction, measured in obedience and silence. Our parents, Richard and Evelyn, were the kind of people who'd smile at church and scream at home. They cut us off when I was 20, and Clara was 18 after we refused to follow their script me, for walking away from their suffocating expectations. And Clara, for marrying Tom, a mechanic with dreams bigger than his bank account. They called him trash and her disloyal. We hadn't seen them since, and I liked it that way. Clara, though, always carried a soft spot, a bruise she kept poking, hoping it'd heal. Tom was the opposite. He built a life with Clara from scratch, 2 kids, Lily and Max, a modest house with a swing set, and a marriage that seemed solid. But he had one rule: his kids would never meet Richard and Evelyn. He'd heard the stories how they'd belittled us, manipulated us, left us scrambling for scraps of approval. They're poison, he'd say, his jaw tight. I won't let them near my family. Clara nodded along, but I saw the flicker in her eyes, the part of her that still wanted to believe in redemption. It started with a letter. Clara found it in the mailbox one spring morning, tucked between bills and junk mail. Our parents, now in their late 60s, wrote that they were ready to reconcile. They wanted to meet Lily and Max, to make things right. Clara read it to me over coffee, her voice trembling with hope. I snatched the letter, crumpled it, and said, "They don't change, Clara. They just want control." She pulled the letter back, smoothing it like it was sacred. "They're old, Sarah. Maybe they're sorry. Don't the kids deserve grandparents?" I warned her. God, I warned her. "Tom will lose it," I said. "He'll see this as betrayal." Clara's face hardened. "He doesn't get to decide everything. They're my kids, too." I leaned across the table, voice low. "You're playing with fire. You think those two won't twist your kids like they twisted us, and Tom, he'll walk." Clara, he's not bluffing. She waved me off, her optimism a shield I couldn't pierce. "You're too cynical," she said. "I can handle this." Weeks passed, and Clara kept it secret from Tom. She'd call me late at night, whispering plans to take the kids to a park an hour away, where our parents had agreed to meet. Neutral ground. She called it. I begged her to tell Tom, to at least give him a chance to weigh in. "He'll say no," she snapped. "He doesn't understand forgiveness." I wanted to shake her. Forgiveness for what? The years they made us feel worthless, the way they'd pit us against each other to keep us small. But Clara was already gone, lost in her fantasy of a happy family reunion. The day came, a humid Saturday in July. Clara packed Lily, 8 and Max, 5, into the minivan, telling Tom they were going to a play date. I was at work when she texted me a photo: Lily and Max on a picnic blanket, our parents sitting stiffly across from them, smiling like they'd practiced in a mirror. Clara's caption read, "It's going okay." My stomach dropped. I called her, but she didn't answer. I texted, "Tell Tom now. Don't let him find out later." No reply. Tom found out that night. Clara came home, kids asleep in the back seat, and he was waiting on the porch, arms crossed, eyes like stone. A neighbor had seen Clara's van at the park and mentioned it to Tom, unaware of the bomb they'd just dropped. "You lied to me," he said, voice low but shaking. Clara tried to explain, her words tumbling over each other about healing, about second chances, but Tom wasn't hearing it. "You took our kids to those people," he said, "after everything they did to you, to us." Lily woke up, rubbing her eyes, and asked why Daddy was yelling. Tom looked at her, then back at Clara, and walked inside. I got the call at midnight. Clara was sobbing, barely coherent. "He's leaving." Sarah. He says he can't trust me. I drove to their house, my heart pounding. Tom was in the garage, packing a duffel bag. Clara was on the couch, clutching a pillow like it could hold her together. The kids were upstairs, hopefully asleep, spared from the wreckage for now. I sat Tom down, trying to be the voice of reason. You two can work this out, I said. She made a mistake. He shook his head, his voice raw. She knew how I felt. She went behind my back. What else is she hiding? I turned to Clara, pleading. Tell him you'll cut them off. Promise it. But Clara, stubborn as ever, wouldn't budge. They're my parents, she whispered. I can't just erase them. The next week was a slow-motion disaster. Tom moved into a motel, leaving Clara to explain to Lily and Max why Daddy wasn't home. Lily started drawing pictures of broken houses, and Max kept asking if he'd done something wrong. I tried to mediate, but both were dug in Clara, clinging to her need to fix the past. Tom to his need to protect the present. I went to see our parents, hoping to confront them, to make them back off. They sat in their pristine living room, acting like victims. We just wanted to know our grandchildren, Evelyn said, her voice dripping with false hurt. Richard added, Clara's the one who reached out. I saw it then, the same old manipulation, using Clara's heart against her. I told Clara what I saw, but she was too deep in her own guilt and hoped to listen. She started taking the kids to see our parents more often, thinking it would prove something to Tom. Instead, it pushed him further away. He hired a lawyer. The word divorce stopped being a threat and started being real. I watched my sister unravel her optimism, replaced by a hollow kind of defiance. She'd mutter about doing what was right, but her eyes told a different story. She was scared she'd lost everything. One night, I found her in the backyard, staring at the swing set. The kids were with a sitter, and the house felt like a tomb. I thought I could make it work, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I thought I could fix them, fix us. I sat beside her, the air heavy with summer heat and regret. You can't fix people who don't want to change, I said, and you can't sacrifice your family for a dream that's not real. She cried then, the kind of sobs that come from deep inside, where hope goes to die. Clara finally agreed to stop contact with our parents, but it was too late. Tom's trust was shattered, and he couldn't see past the lie. The divorce papers came, and Clara signed them. Her hands shaking, she kept the house, the kids, but lost the life she'd built with Tom. Lily and Max stopped asking about Daddy as often, but their silence was worse than their questions. Clara threw herself into being a mom, but I could see the weight of her choice in every forced smile. Months later, I ran into Tom at a coffee shop. He looked tired, older, but he asked about the kids with a softness that hadn't left him. I didn't want this, he said, but she chose them over us. I wanted to argue to defend Clara, but I couldn't. She'd made her choice, and it cost her everything. I drove to her house that night, and we talked until dawn. For the first time, she admitted she'd been wrong, not for wanting to believe in her parents, but for thinking she could change them at the expense of her family. Clara's rebuilding now, piece by piece. She's a good mom, fierce and flawed, learning to forgive herself. Our parents haven't reached out since the divorce, proving what I'd known all along: their reconciliation was just another power play. I wish I could say Clara's story has a neat ending, but life doesn't work like that. She's healing, but the scars are deep, and the kids carry their own. Tom's moved on, dating someone new, but he's still there for Lily and Max, trying to be the father they need from a distance. This story isn't just Clara's, it's about the choices we make when we're chasing redemption. It's about the cost of holding on to people who hurt us, and the courage it takes to let go. Was Clara wrong to give her parents a chance? Or was Tom wrong to draw such a hard line? I don't have the answer. But I know love and trust are fragile things, easily broken, hard to rebuild. What do you think? Who was right? Who was wrong? And where do you draw the line when it comes to family? Share your thoughts. Because stories like this don't have easy answers. And